Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. Liftoff.
Hello. What is up, guys? Hunter Klein here with this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. It's episode 35. It's week 35, and we are rolling. All right, so if you're watching this visually, you may be wondering, Hunter, what are you wearing? And I'm not really sure. So I'm doing laundry right now, and these were 2 of the 4 shirts that were available to me in my array of clothing. And I figured, why not get a little creative this week, you know? I'm not going out. I don't have ways to, express myself through clothing like I would normally like to play with or exercise. So this is my chance. I figured, why not throw a vest on a wildly colored t-shirt? Okay, why not? I don't see the reason why not, guys. I hope everyone's doing well. We're approaching the end of August. Things are going well. The world is not lacking any eventfulness right now. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Guys, the biggest topic on my mind this week was creativity. Okay. There's a lot of parts of this podcast that we're smoothing out or we're really detailing. We're kind of solidifying when content releases. How do I actually record content? But the biggest thing and the biggest challenge I'm sure a lot of you can imagine is what is the best way to consistently produce content or 30 minutes of me talking into a mic every single week? Okay, in order to do this, I need to get a grip on my creativity. All right? And I'm thinking about this a lot. This is somewhat the final piece of the puzzle for me because the structure for consistent content is there. Right? I'm releasing episodes every Monday. I have clips every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on YouTube, Instagram. We're putting the content out there. Now it's just making sure that the fire stays fueled, and that fuel being creativity. Now, what I've figured out through trying to navigate this final piece of the puzzle is, how do I get a grip on this? How do I get a grip on the flow state we've talked about before, or the creativity, the stimulation of creativity in my brain? And I've figured out so far that the coming and going of creativity in my brain right now is like the tides or waves of the ocean. All right, I never know when the big waves are coming. All right, let's say I'm a surfer here. I never know when the big waves are coming, but when they do, I fucking sprint out to the beach and start shredding. All right, just like this surfer, when that mindset of creativity or thought starts to go in my brain, when ideas start to flow, when things start to connect, I sprint to my computer and start writing. Now the problem here is I want to say that this is out of my control. That the gates of creativity open and close without my control, and I'm just kind of there to watch and wait. But I think this is me lazily saying, and just wait for it. The loser in me saying, it's out of your control, so I don't really have to put the work in to control this. All right, I think the real answer is that I need to isolate myself more. Create boredom, reduce the amount of things stimulating me. Because in times of low creativity, it seems that I'm not taking the necessary steps to silence the world around me and drift into my head. Okay? And I can maybe combo this with exploring some different states of consciousness, maybe chemically induced, maybe some other methods where we can kind of just get into a different headspace. It's something I want to master, guys. This idea of getting at least a better handle on how I can get my brain into these states of thought and creativity and not get so distracted. All right? Something that I need to master. I need to master this. And it's not easy at all. I think if you ask any creative, the process of getting into the zone consistently can be challenging. If it wasn't challenging, Kendrick Lamar would have released 5 albums last year, and Picasso would have 100 paintings at the equivalent or at the scale of the Mona Lisa. Now, it's easy to take that idea of it's just innately challenging, this idea of controlling creativity, and spin it as you have no control, let it come to you. You're at the mercy of your brain and when it decides to get into the zone. But I think we can take control, guys. We just need to put in the time to focus. And at the very least, we can get better at it. Right? In what situations am I most creative? Do I need to listen to a specific type of music? Right? Do I need to go to a specific place? Right? These are all things I'm thinking about and trying to develop. So, week in and week out, it's a breeze for me to create content for this page, for this project. Right now, it's not difficult. It's not like I'm drudging through the mud to put out these episodes, but I just want to get a better grip on it. I want to understand it more. A mystery of my mind, if you will. Okay. And life is a light for me right now, guys. I've come to this realization over the last couple weeks that I haven't felt this way probably and maybe for my entire life. I've never felt this light. And by light, I mean I'm very, very comfortable in my own skin. All right. Now, this started for me about a month into Arizona here. All right. And I saw me coming to Arizona as me having a blank slate as far as my person. Okay. When I first moved, I didn't know anybody here. I was moving completely alone. I was leaving pretty much in my mind, leaving my old life behind and starting anew. All right. And one of the staples I wanted my new person to have was an almost over the top honesty. And I followed through heavy. Across all scales of interaction, human contact, I created this extreme transparency. Okay. Whether it be when I was presented with a simple, "How was your day?" or a wild, "What do you think the purpose of life is?" Now, I know this gets floaty, but this is really important to me, guys. It's been a big staple of my last year of this human experience. So, for example, a year ago, if a colleague asked me how my day was, I would have told them good or not bad, kept it short and move along, not really express myself at all, not really show who I am at all, just kind of keep to myself. Okay. But now I'll hit you with the, it's all right. I've been struggling with the comparative mindset of social media, yada, yada, yada. You guys know the deal. I'll give you a straight dose of Hunter right on the spot. Right? What you see here on this podcast is what I am like 24/7, whether this microphone is on or whether I'm out in the streets. And that, guys, is the beauty of it all, the freedom I feel. Somehow, by setting myself on fire publicly or just honestly expressing my feelings, emotions, and thoughts, around every turn, I've gained a massive amount of freedom, family. Okay? I am getting better and better every day at just being myself, and it feels light, guys. Because let's be honest, I'm a very odd person. All right? I have a very unique perspective on the world, life, the universe. I say weird shit. I don't think this is a mystery. I don't think anybody would doubt me on this or disagree with me on this. The problem is, for a majority of my life, I kept it tucked away because I didn't want to be outcasted, you know? I wanted to be the cool kid. I wanted to fit in. But the more I think about it, the more strikingly obvious it becomes that the weird, wacky, big picture type of dude that you see here on IP Monkeys has always been there. And I'm starting to truly, truly believe that he is beautiful. Now, I'm not saying, I know this gets floaty, I'm not saying that the way I carry myself is the universal law or that I'm overtly special. But I am saying that I have found beauty and comfort in the very odd and unique aspects of my person. Something I couldn't say 2 years ago because I wasn't expressing myself. I wasn't spending the time I should have been trying to understand the way I work. All right? I was expressing the mold I was seeing in popular individuals. Right? And I was expressing the mold I was hearing in music. And I was expressing who I thought other people wanted to see. And to put a pin on this conversation, guys, the point I'm trying to make is by being myself, by expressing how I truly feel, both in human interactions and in the hours and hours of podcasting we put into this program, I have a very, very good idea of who I am and what my intentions are. Making encounters with new people easy. Making time by myself a blast. There's not as much self-questioning. All right. Overall, guys, everything I've just detailed comes back to my initial statement, and this all culminates into this human experience for me right now is just light, like I said. All right. It's very, very interesting. I spend a lot of time in my head, and I spend a lot of time questioning the decisions I make, but it's not nearly as critical as it used to be because everything's out there. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Now I'm trying to figure out how I can take all this that's been said and provide value to you all. How can I spin this for your own personal application? And I don't really know. I've thought about this a lot, and I don't really know. Because from what I can tell, it's hard to make this change. It's hard to commit to presenting yourself different or in a new way when you have an already established friend group, community, and so on. Now, let me explain. I don't know if that's the detail the best. I'm not saying making fundamental changes to your person is impossible in an old setting, but it is difficult. Let's say you want to make a fundamental change to your person. You want to revamp, renovate how you interact with people, and you want to be a new you. But nothing about your external world is going to change. You're going to have the same friends. You're going to have the same room. You're going to have the same Friday night spot. I think this process of trying to become a new you with your old surroundings is an issue. Because your old or same friend group was built because of your old personality, was built around your old personality. Your old room was put together by the values of your old person. Now, obviously, this is all irrelevant if you're simply trying to give people more compliments, but I'm talking about a deep, deep change here, guys. Shifting hobbies, values, how you use your free time. From my experience, making this change to being more transparent, honest, and genuine for me by moving to Arizona was made possible entirely because my entire life, world, and friend group was wiped clean. Right? No one knew me. I didn't have old friends around. Okay? So it's possible, but difficult, I think, without a major shift in your life. Okay? I like that, I think. I think that's a good way to put it. I think I like that. Speaking of major shifts in life, guys, I don't know if you've heard, but Germany is testing out universal basic income for the first time, and it will be over a 3-year period. Now, I know this seems like a wide swing here and very off topic or off brand for the podcast, but there's a reason I want to talk about this, and it's a big topic, y'all. Okay, because in the world where automation is increasing and technology is quickly taking the jobs of humans, we need to honestly explore our options for the future in regards to humanity, happiness, and purpose. You also know how much I love technology and creativity, and these are both huge pillars of this enormous discussion and this podcast. So I think it's very, very applicable. Now, I want to be clear before we dive in, I'm not taking a side on this debate. I'm waiting on the results of this study and others alike to decide whether I am for or against it. But the concept is very beautiful in theory, and I believe it is very, very important to understand this idea for you all, especially in our times and what the futures are projected to look like. And so that's why I'm kind of forcing this in a little bit. Okay? So universal basic income is the process of giving out a specific amount of money to everyone involved in the policy. Now, that is everyone in a nation, state, or in this case, a study group of around 1,500 people. So in most cases, you've probably heard the discussion of UBI, or Universal Basic Income, being applied for the nation of the United States. Now, because in our current world, you have to earn or work for your money, this is a very out of the norm idea, making it quite possibly the most ambitious social policy of our times. So why now? Why is Germany doing testing now? Why is this being tested? Why is this being even talked about application-wise? And one big reason is that it's gaining traction is because technology is coming. Technology is beginning to take low-level jobs from humans, and projections estimate that this will increase exponentially. I could give you hundreds of examples. One simple one would be self-driving vehicles. Self-driving vehicles, once they get to a specific point or a certain level of advancement, will void the need for truck drivers, which there are a lot of in the United States. This is just one small example. All right. more and more humans will be jobless going forward. And because work and our careers tend to give us purpose, right? They tend to give us a good feeling. That feeling at the end of the day, after you put in a long day of work, many extend this problem of technology taking jobs and say more and more humans will be unhappy, depressed, and so on as we go forward if we don't create a system like this, like universal basic income, to give people the ability to survive or give people the ability to be creative. Okay, and another big problem at the moment is our welfare systems. So our current welfare systems are mildly effective at best, and they don't really incentivize or push those in the system to improve their lives. Now, I'm not going to get too in the weeds here in regards to this because it's just straight policy science, and it gets a little okay, but as far as big picture, what's the problem with our welfare systems? Our current system we use to provide benefits to the jobless actually trap people in poverty and reward passive behavior. Okay, it pretty much gets people stuck in poverty, the lower classes, and doesn't really incentivize you to work hard or change your life and get out of that. Okay, so our two reasons presented give us this blanket statement of, so people are losing jobs. We expect more people will lose jobs faster, and our systems to support the jobless are average at best. So this is all not good, right? And it leads us to maybe think that we need to rethink things here. So in comes universal basic income, all right, where everyone gets paid a specific amount. Very wild. Now let's start with the con here and something that is pretty much the biggest barrier to this idea, and it's cost. Someone has to pay for this. If you're giving $1,400 a month out to everybody in the United States or everyone in a country, it's a lot of dollars. And our options to pay for a large-scale project like this are limited. Now we could scrap other systems like welfare and other social support policy stuff. But the biggest problem, the biggest proposition and the biggest reason that this is smacked down is because the other option is we could tax the hell out of the rich. And this tends to be a big hell no for a lot of people because we don't like high taxes. Now, the biggest pro for universal basic income is we can give our humans freedom to do what they want with their time. Be creative, educate themselves, and so on. Because they don't have to work a job every day that they hate to survive now. They get that money. Now they can start a passion they've been looking for. Right, we're freeing up humans. The idea, the very positive side of this is we're freeing up humans to do what they like. Now this is where I'll end this talk and where a big divide happens. Right? You might be able to see it now. Your perspective on humans here has a big impact on your perspective in this argument or this discussion. If everyone gets money for free, do you think they use it to create beauty and better their lives? Or do they use it to buy junk food, booze, and sit on the couch? Now, you can see how we have a divide here. I tend to be on the optimistic side. Right? I personally, if I was getting money like this, I would spend all my time pursuing creative endeavors. And I probably wouldn't even stop working. It'd just be a supplement that I could upgrade this podcast with. So perspective really has a big effect on how you approach this discussion, that idea of UBI or universal basic income. But the fact that Germany is testing this out and one of our, this year in the recent presidential election running, one of our candidates was very much for universal basic income is a big sign that things are changing and that new systems are going to be coming into place, whether it be in the next 10 years, next 50, or next 100 years. It's very important that humanity, that we adapt as the world changes, right? As technology advances, as our atmosphere changes. You know, we're not riding horse and buggies anymore. But unfortunately, a lot of our systems were designed when we had horses and buggies. Okay, so it's time for us to grow, adapt, change things. People like to get stuck in their old ways. They like comfort. They don't like big changes like this. So being aware of the possibilities. What are the discussions for how we're going to upgrade humanity as we enter the technological age? I think is really valuable for you guys. Okay, the world is changing. Humans are adapting, and things are getting gnarly, friends. Simply put. And what's going on in my life, guys? Not much right now. Okay, the school year is starting, so we're getting our class schedule and office hours ready. While I couldn't be having a better time right now in life in general, I understand that my life might be seemingly boring from the outside, so I'm gonna save the breath. Right, a lot of my life right now is spent indoors working on the podcast. I'm using quarantine as an excuse to be more of an introvert. Not really doing much other than creating content for this page and watching other podcasts and seeing how they're creating content and what they're talking about. And yeah, so I'm just in a very grindy, shelled up time of my life. So that is why I'm might steer away from trying to tell you, how my week went, because a lot of it was spent in the kitchen or at the gym. You know what I mean? But one thing that I have been doing well that'll bounce off a lot of our previous discussions is I have been killing the social media game. And I don't mean by posts or content here. I mean by holding myself accountable in regards to use and what it's doing to me. I spend probably 4 minutes a day actually scrolling through posts, and 95% of this is in 10-second increments where I catch myself in and instantly get out. I'm swiping and I know like a certain post will maybe hit me the wrong way because my comparative mindset kicks in, and I'll notice it and I'll get like kind of frustrated with myself. Right? I give myself a little slap on a little flick on the ear like my grandpa used to hit me with, and I'll get out instantly. Now this 10 seconds before I catch myself is a lot better than what it used to be. Like I would spend 20 minutes. Next thing you know, I'm like falling into depression scrolling through my social media page because everyone's smiling and out on the beach and I'm sitting in my room during quarantine. Of course, that's a little exaggerated, but we're getting a lot better at it, guys. Okay? No more mindless scrolling and autopilot comparisons. We're improving. Right? The majority of my time on these platforms now, because I'm holding myself accountable, because I'm catching myself in these autopilot comparison scrolling modes, a lot of my time on these platforms is spent responding to DMs, commenting on people's pages saying, hell yeah, man, keep going. Or thank you very much. What do you think about this? I really liked your perspective on the podcast. It's a very interactive platform for me now, right? Which is much better than the recent spiel I've been going on about is how I used to use social media. When I was in college, I'm not ragging on myself. I'm developing as a human. And I'm very proud that I can look back and be disgusted on my old ways because it means I'm developing. But how I used to use social media is I would post a clip or a picture of me at a party or something, and I'd throw like a generic ego-driven quote underneath, like me and the bros are on the way to the top. Right? You've all seen this. I don't know exactly why I posted it, but it got me a lot of followers and it got me a lot of likes. The problem, and I wrote a little blurb about this on my Instagram. The problem with this style, this like farming content, I would post specific pictures, not because I was passionate about it, or I would make certain comment or captions, not because I was passionate about the comment or it provided any value, because I knew it would get me likes. I was like farming. And the more likes I got on a picture, the better I felt. Right? And if I saw my likes going up, I would keep throwing these comments. The problem with this style, the problem with this approach to Instagram that a lot of people use, is that I wasn't creating a real fan base. I was creating an empty following, right? The people that were liking my pictures and the people that were following my account because of my pictures weren't following or weren't joining my team because I was providing value or they liked who I was or they cared about my person or we were alike in any way. They were following because I was posting extremely general content because I fished them in. All right, so as a result of realizing this, I'm done with this blanket surface level online interaction. I want to go deep with my posts. Just like I go deep on this podcast, I want to provide value. I want to pick apart the human experience. And as a result, I'm losing some followers. And that's not a problem. That's not a problem for me at all because if I'm truly expressing myself now, which feels so damn good, like I said, I feel light right now. Life feels good. I'm very confident and happy with who I am as a person. As a result, if you're going to unfollow me because of this, you don't belong here, friend. All right? And I'm not bashing you. You're not a shitty person because of that. I'm not talking shit on you, but you don't belong on my page. My page is for like-minded individuals. My page is for people who want to think about the world. My page is for people who want to improve every single second around every corner, right? I want you to come to my page. I want you to see my name in the newsfeed and be eager to read my content because I want to provide value, because I want to grow. I want to develop. I want to create a community that wants to develop with me. And if you ain't about it, friend, then you can get out. It's free. Like I said, I'm not talking shit. Do you? If you don't like who I am, if you don't like how I'm expressing myself, if you don't like my perspectives, there are millions of people on Instagram. You have a lot of options, pal. Okay? The point here I'm trying to make is I'm trying to do something meaningful with my platforms, right? Rather than just a drooly aspect of my life that boosts my ego every couple of days when I tune in. I want it to be interactive. I want to help people. I want to see other people grow. I want to see other people chase their passions. I want people to see me chase my passions. And that is what it's all about, friends. We're slowly figuring it out. Slowly figuring it out. And it feels good, man. All right? 26 minutes. I like that, guys. We're falling into this, 30 minute long episode. And I think that's a good time frame. Especially once we start, at some point, hopefully, once we start getting viewers or listeners to call in, then I can tack on 45 minutes seems like a good length for me. We can spend the last 15 minutes of every pod now that I'm kind of getting nestled in this 30-minute rant groove. We can spend that last 15 minutes going through some fan submissions on the IP Monkeys phone number, y'all, which is 602-892-4371. Okay, this is a phone number specifically for this podcast. If you're interested in something we talked about, if you think universal basic income is a shitty idea, all right, and you want to tell me about it, you want to tell me about your perspective, if you want to talk about how some posts on Instagram and how you also realize that you're in a comparative mindset on social media and you want to flesh it out, call in. All right, I'll plug it into this bad boy. I'll plug it into my audio software. We'll play your response on the podcast and bounce off of it. All right, we'll go more in depth on the topic if that's what you guys want to do. I want there to be a fan-driven element of this show, and every single week, I'm going to tell you all the phone number. Once again, is 602-892-4371. Leave a voicemail about anything you'd like. I'd suggest relating it to a previous episode or a topic that we've covered, but whatever truly works, guys. We haven't really started this process, so we're still feeling it out. All right. I hope y'all are doing well. Hopefully, if you guys are in the California area, you're not being affected by the fires. That stuff is wild, guys. Hopefully, you're being good to yourselves, progressing in whatever it may be that you are pursuing or creating or thinking about. All right, work on your mental game. Work on your physical game. Get that vitamin D. Avoid coronavirus. Wear masks in public. And keep hammering, family. All right. I'm going to end it there, guys. That's it for this week's episode of Interplanetary Monkeys. And I will talk to you guys next week. Peace.